groovy.
It is groovy. It felt very like official. That's what I figure. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 1 year anniversary edition of the Global Gab. The Global Gab is not 1 year old, but the Global Improv Project is. So I have brought some incredible members of our Global Improv teams here to chat with you about themselves, their improv, and their time with the Global Project. We are lucky enough to have folks from all 5 of our global teams here today. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to ask them to turn on their cameras and we'll do some quick introductions. Come out and join me. Here they come. Fantastic. So I'm going to randomly highlight people because it makes me happy to do that. And then I am going to have them introduce themselves. While they're doing that, if you have questions for folks, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll try to get through them as we talk about some improv today. So I am going to start right here. Tell us your name, your pronouns, where you're calling in from, and what global team you're on.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I am Matt Iwinski, calling in from Chicago, Illinois in the U.S. I am on Team Smells Like Ghosts, and my pronouns are he, him.
Thank you. And next.
Mabuhay! I'm George from Manila, Philippines, where hard rain has just stopped after pouring for 4 straight days. Woohoo! And I'm with the Ridgely team.
Fantastic.
Hello, hi, I'm Sarah. I am from Kent in the UK. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm part of Close Distance.
Wonderful.
Hi everyone, I'm Anisha. I'm calling in from Bangalore, India. I'm part of the Tooth Fairy conspiracy and my pronouns are she and they.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Ryan Hitchcock. I'm calling in from Los Angeles, California in the United States, and I play on the global team Ridgely. My pronouns are he, him.
Fantastic.
Hello, my name is Desi, zooming in from Brussels. My pronouns she, her, and I am from Trash Kingdom team.
Hello, I'm Diana Brown. I'm calling in from San Francisco, California. My pronouns are she, her, and I have the privilege of playing on Team Ridgely.
Awesome. I could listen to like improv team names forever. It's like one of those things that I enjoy so much. We'll have to get to how we came up with these team names at some point today. But what I would love to do is sort of start with just asking folks to share sort of your improv backstory so our audience can sort of get to know your history, your personal relationship with improv. For some of us, it's way too personal, but what we'll do as we're talking today, so you can just raise your hand and then talk. We'll all stay on the big screen together. No more highlighting, so you don't have to be terrified when your face is huge on the screen. But who would like to start and share their improv backstory? How you got involved in improv?
I could go first.
All right.
Because I started improv just a year ago and I did it all online. I've never done it in person, and I am so grateful for finding playback and improv during the pandemic, because it's really helped me hold all the madness that was happening. And yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
Awesome, awesome. Great. Who else would like to share their improv backstory? Sarah?
So I think I started improv about 6 years ago, although I'm a drama lecturer, so I've been doing kind of associated things for a long time. But yeah, I live about an hour outside of London, so it's quite hard to get to London all the time, and there wasn't much going on in Kent where I live, so I went to Improv Gym, which I'm now running because I'm super eager. But from there, I found out all about like all the improv training that was going on, and I just went a bit crazy when I found out, and I just did everything I could possibly do, kind of mostly in sort of the London area. And I've really got into online improv, obviously over the pandemic. For some reason, I made notes of every online thing I've done, and I'm over 500 now. Part of lots of teams and global teams, as well as some kind of in-person shows, which are slowly coming back here in the UK as well, which is really exciting.
Awesome. Great. Who wants to go next? Desi?
So I studied theater in university. We used improv as a tool, as a like exercise, and it was great. We used to call it étude, which is also its name in French, I think. It's like games. And when I moved to Brussels, I found a troupe called Improv for Dummies. And they were doing improv in English, and I joined them. And ever since, I do a lot of improv here in Brussels. That makes, I don't know how many, 8 years here in Brussels. I also teach improv. I love it.
Awesome. Fantastic. I love Improv for Dummies. That's a good troupe name. I need that one. All right, great. Who else would like to share? Let's get Ryan and then George.
I started doing improv I started doing it before college, but I really got into it in college. And then after I graduated, I moved back out to LA because I'm actually from here. And I started taking classes at UCB. And then eventually I got put on Herald teams at UCB. And I'm going to list some improv team names right now for you, Carla. I was on the teams Mr. Town City, Solid Gold Forever, and Nomi Malone.
Oh my God.
And then, yeah, I've just been, I've been doing it for about 15, 16 years now. Yeah.
Wow, he started in diapers. All right. George, how
Older
are
than I
you?
look.
As for me, I learned about improv in 2017. Prior to that, I've watched Whose Line Is It Anyway, but I didn't think that was improv. I thought that was just an irregular comedy. So I watched a show here in Manila by the premier group called Spit, and I was inspired and blown away. And then I took classes with Third World Improv for 2 years, and then the pandemic happened. And then after a couple of months, I was craving to do improv. And that's when I stumbled upon Queen City Comedy. And that's when my online improv journey started. And I'm doing it until now. And it has given me joy until now.
Awesome. Good. Did we get, no, we have Diana. All right.
And Matt.
And
If you want to
Matt.
go next, Matt, feel free.
My internet connection's kind of unstable at the moment, so why don't you go first?
Okay. All right. Let's give some love to Matt. Let's hope his internet connection is strong. Goodness, improv. Oh my goodness. Well, I started out doing short form. I mean, short form, right? I love short form, but when I discovered long form, it was like, because I come from a theater background, like some of you, and the appeal for me was I can play anything. Like a can of soup, Ben Franklin, I can play anything. I'm not limited by type, so I loved that. I will share some improv team names because they amuse me as well. So my first short form teams were the Pros from Dover, MASH reference. Yes, I'm that old. And Exclamation Theater, because you got to have one of those in your history that you can be slightly ashamed of. But loved the team, hated the name. Flash forward to about 2000 and, oh goodness, 2000 and I want to say 6, started doing an online improv podcast called Radio Star Improv. And then I was asked to start teaching. And then I really went down, started teaching the drop-in, because drop-ins are the gateway drug, right? That's your first dipping your toe in and then you're hooked. So now I teach with Leela in San Francisco. I perform with a lot of groups, and my main troops right now are Ridgely with Global Improv, Binge Watch. I'm half of a duo, and that's all I'll talk about for now. That's enough for now. Thank you.
All right. We're all breathlessly waiting to see if Matt is stable.
I'm good.
All right.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yes.
Until
Tell us about you, Matt. Tell us about you.
So I actually started doing improv back in 2009. I was taking classes at Second City in Chicago, where I was on my first improv team, Mixed Nuts Deluxe. From there, I took like acting classes. I took a stage combat class where we learned how to fake fight. And I took a stand-up class, which I was absolutely horrible with. Took some time off from it. I just wanted the experience, took some time off. And then I was actually at an improv show with some friends of mine, and they pulled me up on stage to be a volunteer. And that's when I realized I really miss this. And so for the last 3-4 years, I've just been kind of getting into everything improv that I can. I'm a part of 3 amazing theaters, including Queen City, with Smells Like Ghosts, and then I'm on another team called Shade Tree. So that's my story.
That's a lovely improv team name. We can't laugh at that one. My worst improv team name was Balls and Dolls. Yeah, that was my worst. Real quick, some of you know, some of you don't know. I'll share my improv backstory as well. I was on a cruise ship for my 40th birthday year and was really having like a nervous breakdown in life. And Second City that Matt just mentioned was doing they had their tour company at the time, and they were doing improv on this boat. And so I spent like my whole week going to like every single improv show that they were doing. I grew up in scripted theater from the time I was like 5 years old, but with my job and being a mom, like it just wasn't an option. So after watching like all of their shows, they probably thought I was like a weirdo. I was like, when I get back to Charlotte, if there's some improv, I will do it. And I came back, and lo and behold, there was a lovely group called Charlotte Comedy Theater, which is having their 20th anniversary this August. And I went to my first improv class and tried to leave by sneaking in the bathroom during the break. And somebody was waiting for me outside the bathroom. And I thank that person every time, because I would have walked away and not be doing what I love right now. So I always like to give a shout out to PJ Kelly. He probably doesn't remember that I don't think he was waiting for me outside the bathroom. That sounds weird. He just happened to be outside when I came out. And he was like, oh, we didn't know where you were. And then I went back. So that is my improv backstory. Great. Thank you for sharing that. It's so fun to get to know all of you a little bit better, for myself, but I'm sure as well as for our audience that's watching. What I'd love for you all to share now is sort of your global improv project backstory. So what prompted you to audition? What were those auditions like? And what was it like the first time you got together with your team? We'll just sort of stop there because we'll have much more to talk about later. So just like those beginning moments with Queen City Comedy, we'll start with that. Whoever wants to share first. I know some of you were at the same auditions and some of you were not, so.
I'll go first. I think I was there with George too. I think George and I were at the same audition, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it was soon after the pandemic hit. I was stuck at home with nothing to do, and I was really missing improv. And so I was just honestly just searching on the internet one day and came across the audition for Queen City, and I was like, "Oh, this is in a couple days. I can do this. I can make this." Because again, I had nowhere to be. So I think it was like 7 or 8 in the morning my time, and it was a lot of fun. The audition. I just remember everybody just being so welcoming and so friendly, and we all had a good time, and it didn't even feel like an audition to me, to be honest. And then shortly after that, I got the email saying I was in, and I was put on Smells Like Ghost.
Awesome. And what was it like for that first Smells Like Ghost rehearsal? What was that like? I always love first impressions.
It was like any first like improv like class or rehearsal. It's very awkward because nobody knows everybody. So it was just, we're all just kind of sitting there like, yeah, waiting to turn our screen on until that first person did. And then I'm trying to, it was a year ago. So I'm really
we're going back in the brain there.
Yeah, I remember it being just kind of, for me, I was like, I don't know anybody. And I was very intimidated because everybody else like was so much better than I was. And I was like, this is going to be challenging. Am I in the right place? Should I be here? But yeah, and we're all like, just amazing. Just our chemistry is great. And I feel like I fit in now. So
You always fit in. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Matt. Who else would like to tell us about your global beginnings? George.
Yes, so I was searching online about anything improv, any event about improv. So I found some jams, and then I stumbled upon the video of Carla and Kale, which I think is at 30,000 views as of today. That's crazy.
That is so frightening.
When you were like describing the Queen City Globe.
Yes,
somewhere on the
Kale likes to be my Vanna White if you ever watch him online.
So I have never auditioned in my entire life, but the values and the learnings that I got from taking improv classes is that just jump at it. So I said, I'm just gonna jump at this. Whatever happens, happens. If I don't get in, at least I was able to experience the process of being in an audition, which I haven't done before. So I just went in, and it felt weird because I wasn't nervous. I was so calm because I was just thinking in my head that just be in the moment, and it's okay to be average, and just let go of everything. That's it. 3 things in my head.
Awesome. George, you were not average, just for future reference. You were not average. And what was that first Ridgely rehearsal like for you?
It was very exciting because I have no clue about what's going to happen and how this online improv was going to go. I mean, I haven't done long form or short form improv online for a show. I've done jams prior to the first meeting, but not a show. So that meeting and that led to our first show was really very exciting for me.
Great. Awesome. Thanks.
I don't know if George remembers, like I said, we were in the same rehearsal, but George, you were actually the first person I technically met because we were in breakout rooms and we had to interview each other. And then we had to introduce each other. So yeah, you were the first person I met.
I remember.
And I think in those auditions, there were like over 60 people in the room. So I'm sure that was a little intimidating as well. Fantastic. Who wants to share next? We'll get Sarah, then Desi.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like, so much happens in a year. Now I'm going back, like, how did it all happen? I don't know. Like, particularly because I feel really comfortable in close distance. We feel like we all know each other and we spend a lot of time chatting. And I'm like trying to go back to that initial. I think I found out about it because I met you, Carla, on the Improv Place teaching masterclass that we were doing, and you mentioned about it, and then I got really excited because the day that everything shut down here, because I had to transfer all of my drama teaching to online. I was at home like, what is Zoom? Like immediately, and I was just trying to embrace it all. And I'm part of Improbotics, where we do improv with AI. And our whole ethos is about kind of making the problem the hero rather than the problem, if that makes sense. So I thought, well, you can apply that to online. So I was just trying to find lots of online opportunities because I just wanted to stay creative. Otherwise, I would have gone insane. So yeah, I basically found this as a massive opportunity. I don't hugely remember the audition, if I'm honest, other than what people have said, like just feeling quite comfortable and that it was really fun and friendly. I think it felt very workshoppy and just really enjoyable. And from the very first rehearsal, actually, it just felt comfortable. Like people were friendly. It's always felt really inclusive. And just the opportunity to actually meet people from different countries, and actually have those links that we wouldn't normally have. I live in a very small part of Kent. It's just great to have those other experiences from people from all over the world. I'm really grateful for that.
Awesome, great. Desi?
Well, I found out about the audition on Facebook, but I was already doing so much improv. And of course, I decided I need more. And I said, okay, I decided, okay, I can give it a try. And I was a little bit nervous because I thought probably everybody will be native speakers. I cannot, yeah, I'm not. So, but it didn't feel like audition at all. It was so much fun. I've been to so many auditions and this one was the best in my life. I realized how many talented improvisers exist in the world. And one day I got the email and I became part of Trash Kingdom with the best person taking care of us, Jen Bianchi. So good and amazing and smart and talented and funny and everything. And yeah, it has been a great experience. And actually, I fell in love with my teammates from the very first second.
I love that. Just to let the audience know, Desi and Anisha are part of our women and non-binary team. So they auditioned in February this year, whereas some of the other folks auditioned in July last year. And it's really great to know that you're loving your team, Desi. Anisha, do you want to go next since we were just talking about those auditions?
Yes, so I wanted to actually mention the first time when I met Carla was in one of those workshops that Ari had set up where we did a scene and then he gave us feedback. And that was the first time I was doing a scene, like a duo scene, and I was so very anxious and Carla put me right at ease. And since then, I've been in love with Carla and so grateful for all the workshops that Queen City has been hosting. And I think I had already been doing like online improv for 6 months or something by the time these auditions were announced. And I had set like an intention that I really want to find my own team of all women and non-binary folk. It would be so cool if I could be part of a team and have that language, have that space and energy to grow together. And I remember the audition, there just being so many amazing talented women in the room, and I was like, oh my god, I don't think I can do this. But I'm so grateful that they were the 2 teams made. And I remember from the first rehearsal, Jen saying, big clit energy, bring that to the just bring it. And like, to be able to say that out loud, to be able to own it, I think it's so very important. And for me, like, that's what improv has been, like finding one's own voice and owning it up for
we all laugh with you because several of these folks are on a team with Jen and have played with Jen, so they get what you're talking about, because she is an energy all of her own. Great. Who else wants to share their stories? Diana.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, let me just say what an honor it is to be part of the Global Improv Project. The very word global pulled me in, and I am privileged to do a lot of teaching and directing, and I don't ordinarily play in a lot of large ensembles. Occasionally, I play with a faculty Armando ensemble, and I love it. But I just didn't have a lot of experience recently in being a part of a larger ensemble. I'm part of a duo, part of a trio, and as I said, I teach and direct a lot. So I wanted to remember what that's like, and especially online, because I was transitioning all my troops online, and I wanted to have that muscle memory empathy for the experience. And so I nervously put my stuff out there, and everybody, you're so right. The audition felt more like a super comfortable jam. I felt so respected. I felt like we were all so respected and appreciated. Our time was appreciated. And then I remember the first person I did a scene with was from my hometown, from Tucson, Arizona. And I'm like, okay, this is good. This feels right. And that was Rafi, who's on Ridgely, and who's an amazing human being, a young improviser, powerful, showing so much leadership as a young improviser, and that's also inspiring. So that was my coming into Global, and then I got the magical email saying we'd like you to be part of Team Ridgely, and I was like, with Carla? Oh my God! Oh, I get to be coached by Carla. That's insane. That's amazing, and it's just been great. It's been a chance for me to remember, fail and try and explore, and I don't always have to be the voice in the room that's leading. I get to learn and follow, and so that's been beautiful. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. I think we have Ryan left. Tell us, Ryan.
Woo!
Tell us
Yes.
about you.
I don't really remember how I found it. I feel like I probably stumbled across a post somewhere or something. And it was mid-pandemic, nothing to do. Trying to work those performing muscles, because I was it was at the point in the pandemic, it was the summer. It was really starting to become clear that this was not going to be going away anytime soon. And so I needed to figure out an outlet to perform. And yeah, also like Diana, the idea of it being global also really appealed to me. And I'll echo everyone who said that the auditions didn't feel like auditions. Because I've been on both sides of it here in LA. I've both been in improv auditions, and I've been watching improv auditions on the other side. And there's there can be a lot of pressure that people feel in those situations, and I didn't feel that at all in this audition situation. It was I think it was the best run improv audition I've ever been a part of. And then I kind of let George and Diana go first, because I don't really remember the first Ridgely rehearsal.
Are you saying that we're forgetful, Ryan?
Yeah,
forgettable?
No. Yeah, no, I just yeah, I mean, improv stuff, it all kind of blurs together. I'm sorry if that's not an exciting answer, but it's true.
It is very true. I have a notebook where I write down where I met everybody, so that when I meet somebody again, I'm like, ooh, I know them. And I go back to my notebook and see what class, what jam, what workshop it was that I met people in. Thanks for sharing. I too am a member of a global team. I didn't say that. I am part of Close Distance. And I'll give you a little backstory about the auditions for those of you who know or don't know. We had started doing some online drop-in classes in early June, and Kale, who co-runs Queen City Comedy, and I were doing these drop-ins, thinking we would be offering something to our local community here in the Carolinas in the United States. And then when Kale taught the first workshop, there was only one person from our area, which is Daia, who's on a team with Matt, and everybody else was from all over the world. And we were like, what is happening? Offer, who's on Sarah's team, was in our very first drop-in class, and he's from Israel. And I was like, Kel, this has got to be a fluke. That cannot be what's normal. And then mine came like 2 weeks later, and it was the same thing. It was all these folks from all over the world, and it just blew our minds, because Charlotte, North Carolina is not known for improv. I don't know what we're known for, NASCAR, and I apologize. So we were like, well, what if we just see if we can get some of these folks together and we create one online team? And we had over 120 people audition for us in July, which was like utter craziness and insanity. So as people kept dropping in and registering, we just couldn't believe it was happening. So we assembled a team of fantastic, strong female improvisers, Mandy Butler, Franny Williams, Elizabeth Byland, to really help us, through the audition process, as well as really like having a group of folks to make these decisions, because we didn't want it like all on our hands. And then we were like, okay, we're going to pick one team. And then the auditions happened. And I'm a big fan of not making auditions feel audition-y. So thank you for saying that, especially in the improv world, because those of us who also act like know how horrific auditions can be and demoralizing, and we didn't want it to feel like that. So when we had so many good people, like we hung up after the very first audition, we held 2 auditions and 2 callbacks in the beginning. We were like, there's no way we can just have one team, but like we didn't have coaches, and we didn't have so we were like, what's gonna happen? And then I was like, I want to be on a team. And Kel's like, you didn't audition. You're not gonna get me on a team. I was like, damn it. But I wiggled my way in. So that's sort of where we came about. And then when we held auditions in February for our women non-binary team, it was the same thing. Jen was like, I'll coach a team. And then I was like, we had like 65 fantastic folks that showed up. And I was like, count out 2 teams. And she was like, what? And now she is coaching 2 teams. And Roxy is sister with one of the teams as well, because we threw a lot at Jen. But if anyone can handle it, Jen can handle it. So good. That's just a little bit about the backstory. I will say my first rehearsal with Close Distance, which I'm a member of, I was super intimidated because, oh my gosh, the talent on the team is just crazy. Sorry, I use that word way too much. It's brilliant. I'll go with that. And there are folks in that room that I was super intimidated to play with, despite not only knowing some of them, but asking them to audition for us, like Sarah and Alex and Artie, who I had played with and encountered before. But Sarah's right. We spend so much time talking that we only do some improv in our rehearsals, which is fine. It's super fun. And then I had to coach Ridgely, and I'm gonna tell on myself here. Diana Brown, I was so nervous. I was so nervous about being your coach, because I was like, Diana's like a legend. How am I going to coach Diana? And I also had one of my people I play with who I was coaching too. So a current team member in real life that I was coaching. So I was like so intimidated and overwhelmed. But I'm still there. They didn't kick me out. So yay for that. Yay for that. So that's a little bit about the improv process and my first rehearsals. Sorry I didn't officially audition. So what I would love for us to share now is just some of your favorite memories, some of your favorite things that have happened as being a part of your team, whether it's shows or rehearsals or non-rehearsals, game nights, whatever it is your team does. It's a team and it's a community, and our retention rate for a year is pretty significant, and so I think there's something that these teams are doing right, and really are connecting. So I'd love for each of us to share some of the fun times. Diana, then we'll get Sarah.
Well, this is pretty short, but one of my favorite things about Team Ridgely is just the genesis of our name. And I'll be candid, I didn't know what it meant. I had to be hipped to it, right? I was like, oh, okay, I get that. But now. But and I'll let Carla do the honors of explaining. But it made me so happy that the team wanted to take that name because it was so important and in a lovely, fun way to Carla. So Carla, please hip everyone to why we are Ridgely.
Well, I believe Ryan campaigned, Ryan and Chris
did hard.
For it. We came up with all these fantastic team names, and I had mentioned that I was like obsessed with Wham, and not George Michael, but Andrew Ridgely. And then I think somebody said, oh, that should be our team name. And then I'm sure George and Diana and Ryan can chime in. I do a lot of polls during improv rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's a very democratic society in our improv team. And so we had a poll, and then Ryan kept doing write-in votes for Ridgely, and then other people started voting for Ridgely, and then I think that's how we came. I don't even remember. We had some other really like Birds of Prey. We had some other really fun, silly names, if I remember correctly.
I think Rafi had to write a long article and post it so that everybody will be convinced to vote for Ridgely.
Yeah, there was definitely stumping for certain names. I forgot that Ridgely was a writing candidate.
Yeah, it was not originally like one of the team names. And it was like the longest process to come up with our name because there was this whole like back and forth conversation happening. It's always fun when you figure out your team names though. Good. Awesome. Sarah, how about you? What would you like to share?
Yeah, I think for me, it's those conversations and that communication. Because to be honest, I think I've done other improv stuff where I'm like, oh, it's quite nice to have a chat, but let's just do the improv. And actually, it's really nice getting to know people and also thinking about communication and how we can all bring different things from our different kind of life experiences. And it's just quite fun, like noticing those differences sometimes. So like as a result of this, Brandon and I, who are both in close distance, have set up a show called The British American Experience, where we look at the two differences in our cultures and do lots of silly things around it. And the more I've done that, the more I've realized that we have a lot of words that don't mean the same thing at all. And so it's just finding all those things which you wouldn't get the opportunity to if you were just in a room with everybody else who was more like you, I guess.
And Brandon's British accent is just flawless at this point.
All right, governor.
That's pretty much what it is. And you all have a show today, right?
We do,
on Highwire. So we'll put that link in the chat so you can watch what has come from their team, this new show that's been going on for a while now, right?
Yeah. We're on season 3, I think now. So yeah.
Awesome.
Shameless promotion for me. Sorry.
Promote. That's what we have to do with improv. It's all good. Awesome. Who else would like to share some fun memories? Desi?
I love how close we became in our team, and we of course love improvising together, but also just talking and sharing different things. And I have no idea where the name Trash Kingdom came from. Someone used the name, used it in a scene, but I missed it. Even though I was there, I missed it. And then Jen asked, that's interesting. Would you like Trash Kingdom to be the name of our team? And I was, okay, I missed something again, but I was the first one who said yes, because I didn't want them to find out that I have no idea what they were talking about. But yeah, in general, we have a lot of fun. It's great. We have a rehearsal every other week, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, awesome. Your team has been really fun because they even like sent surprise gifts to Jen and didn't tell her who it was from, and so it's been really fun to watch these teams evolving as they have grown. It's really awesome. Good. Who else wants to share some fun memories? You can share more than one too. Matt, what you got?
Oh man, every single one of our rehearsals, it's like a party because it takes us so long to get on track because we're just like talking and laughing. And I remember one of the early rehearsals. We had Mandy as our coach at that time. We have Kale now. But we had Mandy, and I don't know, I think Mandy and Jen started swearing at each other. And then for the whole rehearsal, all of us were just swearing at each other constantly. And to the point where just in the middle of a scene, we would just be cussing at each other. And it was the funniest thing ever, because that was like, yeah, one of the early rehearsals. So like I was still trying to like find my place in the group, and we're all just cussing at each other. It's like, this is great.
I'm going to adopt that for our next Ridgely rehearsal. Only swearing is allowed in the midst of a fairy tale. I love that. That sounds so like Mandy and Jen. So that's Mandy Butler, who was the original coach for Smells Like Ghosts. When she went back to teaching in person, she teaches theater at a university. She had to sort of step back because nobody knew we would still be here a year later doing all of this good stuff. So good. Who else has some fun memories to share from their time rehearsing or doing shows with your team? George?
Yes, rehearsals with Ridgely are so much fun. Aside from being a lot of characters like moving as a dolphin or hanging in a chandelier or being endowed as God, where I suddenly rise up and try to give advice to everybody. I think one of the best memories I had was that when Ryan and I were in a scene together, and I had to look at him a certain way, and then he was affected by it, that he got out of character, and it was. You remember that, Ryan? That look?
Yes. Yeah.
that was memorable for me, and also hanging out with Ridgely. I mean, watching the Slacker movie on our own and eating chips to prepare ourselves for the Slacker form that we were about to do. That's what we do. That was a lot of fun, just hanging out.
Yeah, anytime you can make Ryan break, which is very rare, you should feel really happy about that. Ryan's pretty good about holding his own. Good. Anyone else have any fun memories to share? I will share one after, and then I'll grab you, Anisha. Early on, Ridgely decided to do some hangout nights, and I think one of the first nights it was Ryan and this guy Kyle, who's not with us anymore, for a few minutes, and then Roxy came on, and Roxy had come home from somewhere where she had had a few drinks. And we literally, I think Ryan, Kyle, and I just didn't speak for 40 minutes. And Roxy just literally entertained us with her stories. And I got tears like running down my face. I was laughing so hard. I couldn't even believe how much time had passed because it was just like so much fun and silliness. Do you remember that, Ryan?
Yes, I do.
It's burned in his brain. And Roxy wouldn't care that we share.
What is it? All our memorable memories include Ryan.
There you go. Yeah, Ryan was an innocent bystander in that train wreck, though. That was it was great. It was great. Anisha, how about you? What's something that you remember?
Yeah, actually, I also have a story with Roxy because since we meet only alternate Wednesdays, we at one point of time started meeting every Wednesday. Like some of us were like, let's just hang out and like do some scenes. And I really enjoyed like watching my teammates doing other shows too. Like for me, it's also like widening the horizon of what improv is and how it is imagined in so many different spaces. So I really enjoyed doing that, like following each of my teammates and seeing which are the other teams, what are the other genres that they're bringing. And also like Elkie, every show she has so many different character and personifications. It's just amazing. Like each member has like, so I really love catching as many shows as I can, and that's something that being part of a team and a community, it's something that I really enjoy.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And we can talk about this because I know so many of you are involved in other projects, global projects or international projects through the online improv community. So I love the fact that you talked about that, Anisha, really like supporting and following the other folks that are playing. So let's take some time and let's share some of those connections that you've made through other global communities. There's some great communities out there like Zigzag and Smack and Improv College, the nursery. So if you're doing some more stuff other than the global project, let's share a little bit about that and give some shout outs to some other communities. Anybody got something they want to share?
I'll give a quick shout out. I had the privilege of meeting David from Extreme Improv in Alaska, and then he has just exploded all over with the Extreme Improv, their festival, and all the things they're doing. And a group that I have the joy of being their director, the Professionals, they got to make their UK debut virtually, and that just made them so happy. And they're coming back around later today. They'll be playing as part of the Extreme Fest, and just that sense of we're in another part of the world, and it's just made the world feel so much more accessible. Like I now feel like when this is over, I know people all over the globe, and I can visit them and potentially play with them. And so that's the positive of this freaking shitstorm that we've been through, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I joke that now I have lots of couches to sleep on, but I'm not joking.
Right?
All right, awesome. Who else has got another great community or a connection that they'd love to share that they're doing online? Sarah?
Yeah, so I've been involved with Improv College, which has been brilliant. Doing some teaching for them and running some jams, as well as being part of the house team. So again, that's just been great for making all of those connections with people. Improv Gym that I run, which is based in a tiny corner of Kent normally, a bit like your experience, Carla, we went online to try and drop-ins. And it's been really interesting because we've had people from Folkestone in Kent, which is tiny, then lots of people from all over the world. So it's like a really nice mix of people kind of globally. Some of this I had to stop doing, a bit like you said with Mandy, because my actual face-to-face teaching then came back quite suddenly. I'm also part of, what else am I part of? Don't Mess, which Carla is in. So we are a global non-binary and all-women group that came out of the World of Improv project that Asad Khan was running, where we had kind of one-off concept shows really, and we just enjoyed playing together so much that we have continued ever since. We've been at Pack Theatre and Impro Theatre, and the nursery as well. So I originally trained with the nursery theatre and have done lots of online things with them as well. So yeah, I think it's just the more you do, the more opportunity I think kind of opens up, which is really exciting.
Yeah, great. What y'all are learning is I just stalked Sarah from the moment I met her. That's basically what you all have learned. Good. Who else has something to share? George.
Yes, I am also glad to be part of the Smack community with Kurt Marby. We have a team called Typical Heroes, where we do improv and sketch together. Some are recorded, and then some are also done live during the show. So that's an experience as well, and a very good team. I'm also grateful for the nursery. I was also part of their ensemble called Off the Grid, and a team called Improv News Hour, where we improvise news on the spot. It's directed by Varun and Pratham from Kaivaldi Place. That was very fun to do as well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that we're giving all this love around the world. Who else has something else to share? Desi?
Yes, I would also like to share about Varun's classes in Kaivala place. I've done Stanislavski for improvisers and Laban technique workshop. It was really unique and rare. And also, if you're into theater workshops, which also work for improv, Michael Chekhov Acting Studio in New York City is amazing. So I highly recommend it. You can do Michael Chekhov workshop, which is basically also improvising with a text or without a text. It's not a scripted theater. So it's great.
Oh, great! We'll put a lot of these links in the. I had to get out a notebook because there were so many. I'll make sure that we shout out all these folks. Anyone else have any other global projects that you've worked on? Let's get Ryan, and then we'll get Anisha.
Yeah. Well, this is a good opportunity to bring up the Global 3-on-3 tournament, which we ran earlier this year through Queen City Comedy, and actually like kind of pulled in a lot of people from all these different communities that have kind of sprung up online around a couple that I wanted to, like, Sarah mentioned the Pack Theater. There are people from the Pack Theater, people from the Improv Project performing. There were also people from the World's Greatest Improv School.
Mr. Will Hines.
Will Hines, that Will Hines runs. Also people from Illuminati Improv. Their founding members played in the tournament. Well, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head if there's anything else. Nope.
He's thinking. The Global 3-on-3 tournament was, again, one of those things that we thought would be maybe not as big as it ended up being, and we were just blown away by the amount of folks from around the world, countries we had not had the opportunity to touch and play with through improv. That sounded weird, sorry. That we got to play together. And for some of these folks, it was the first time in a room together, meeting, and the jams at the end of each of the heats were my favorite part. I mean, the scenes were so good. The stuff people were doing, the musical improv was fantastic. But just watching everyone play together and just sort of, as only improvisers can, like, take the stuff that maybe didn't go right in people's improv sets and then making it the fun in the jam at the end was super fun for me to watch. Plus Ryan's magnificent costume changes were incredible. And the best part of the whole thing is when we went off the air and Ryan couldn't get out of his costume one night. That was perhaps he was trapped in his costume. That was perhaps one of the best. One of the best memories. So I know Anisha needs to go, and then I saw George and Matt. So we'll continue from there.
Sorry, George. Please.
Go ahead, Anisha.
I wanted to give a shout out to the idea of learning is like not like one directional. Like, I have learned so much from listening to the Lloyd podcast about improv and how that whole transition happened from doing improv in person to like doing everything online. At the improv place, I kind of, in the masterclass got to meet people who I would be watching, and then like that was amazing. Just the Friday catch-ups where like everyone gets anything that they're thinking about or curious about, and then like giving a lot of inspiration on things to read and to know more about improv as a larger concept. And then the whole idea of finding a couch in a city, like improvisers talking about food, I think that has for me really made the world a tiny place. Like it really is home, because food really connects all of us in a very guttural way, and I have loved and really spent a lot of time connecting and sharing about food and improv. And I also shout out for so many jams that have been consistently happening, like Michelle Gilliam's jam that happens every Sunday and Wednesday. There's so many, and they even is this I think page put together of any time in the world there's a jam happening, and that's been listed over there. And I think in the beginning of the pandemic, that really kind of sustained extroverts like me, just trying out different jams and techniques and styles. Shout out to Hideout and Nursery, my Tiny Dinos team, and City Rams Playback Theatre.
Oh yes, City Lamps. Yeah, I believe it's Edison Villa who has compiled all of the jams, so it should be in many of the Facebook groups. So thanks, Edison, for doing that. And yes, if you haven't joined Improv or Food for Improvisers, Improvisers for Food, I forget what it's called, Facebook group, it is worth joining, if nothing else, just to salivate over things you'll never eat, or for people like me who don't cook, just look at that and think, yeah, that looks great. I could never do that. That's pretty much what I do. George, what you got?
Yeah, I just remembered when Ryan mentioned about the tournament. I just wanted to shout out to Extreme Improv and Hideout Theater for having these tournaments that you can just jump in whenever you're available. For Hideout Theater, there's the Maestro, and for Extreme, there's the World Championships that is actually ongoing right now. And also the one with Nuatankabas last year, the duo tournament where you and Brenna were the champions. Congratulations.
Yes. Yeah, it's been some really great stuff. And even like at Extreme Improv, they have their championships going on. And when you look at the roster, there's so many of our global folks in there, which is really awesome to see. I believe Elke's in twice, once as Elke and one as a dude named Mort. So you can watch Elke twice. I only Elke could pull that off. That's what I have to say. Matt, how about you?
Yeah, going back to Ryan's 3-on-3 global tournament. I was on one of the teams that was put together randomly, which was very exciting. Because we didn't really talk much beforehand. We just kind of like well, what do you guys want to do? All right, that works. And then we did it, and it was just so much fun because we had never met each other before, and we made it, I think, to like the next round, and then we got eliminated. But that's okay because we still had a good time.
I think you were the only wildcard team to advance, though.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'll take it.
It's true.
And then as far as like other just global things, just like the community playhouse that we do, or the I had another one, but I totally forgot what it was. The community playhouse, the mix it up shows are fun too. Yeah, the duo shows. And then even the game nights have just been so much fun. Going back to what Sarah was talking about earlier, we have different like words for different things. And I remember one game night we were playing Pictionary, and it was funny because there were certain things we're like, well, that's not what we call it. What do you call it? So we had like, instead of playing the game, we were having a discussion like, oh, okay, that's what you call. All right.
Yeah,
So
Asud, who was there, who's so competitive, was like, that is not what it is called.
That's right.
And then he would like start giving hints too, because then he would start feeling bad because maybe they weren't called the same thing. He was giving like all these hints as we're playing Pictionary. Yeah, I love that you brought that up, Matt, because that was one of the next things I was going to sort of bring up, is that in the beginning we didn't know this would go on so long, and so when after like the first 6 months, folks were so separated and they remembered people from the auditions. And actually, Matt, you were one of the reasons that sparked our first Mix It Up show. Was Matt was like, at one of our game nights or one of our, I don't know, talkbacks, he was like, I want to play with more people that they don't get to play with. And I was like, well, we'll see if people show up. And we've been since July, look, since January, we've been running the duo show and then the Mix It Up show. And then we had folks that were like not on teams that were like, I want to play. So we started our community playhouse show. For the summer, we've combined two of those because everyone's out and about. But it's been really fun to have different people play. I know Paul, who was supposed to be here but couldn't, is from South Africa, and he jumped into the Global 3-on-3 tournament, and he's been playing in a lot of our Mix It Up shows. And for some people, that was the first time meeting them. So if any of you share your thoughts or your experiences in playing in some of those shows where it's not just your team, it's where you've sort of been mixed up and playing with different folks. How's that been for you all? Thoughts, George?
Well, speaking about playing with different folks, I'm also grateful you mentioned about Assad, where he put up this World of Improv thing last year, where I got to play with folks that I haven't played with before. And I think that's where the group Don't Mess also was formed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a wonderful experience. And our team was able to perform that time, and it felt magic for me. It really did.
Awesome. Yeah. Great. Any Anissa?
I just want to give a shout out to the Improv Boost. I think last year started this conversation of bringing all of these companies together, and like it was like an Olympic rally. Okay, this day this person is going to do it, and then they pass it forward, and I just that feeling of community. Like I was like, oh, I need to be there in the green room and help. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but like somehow, and I've not even met these people, but it doesn't feel like that. And yeah, so I just really grateful for that opportunity, because of that coming together, that imagination of creating that online space and performing for it, and finding that common language, even though I haven't met someone ever before, and then actually having a parachute and going in the scene with that. Like it was so much fun.
Awesome. Yeah, through Improv Boost, the partnership with them and Socially Distant Improv, we, as Queen City Comedy, that's another great group to mention. We began talking about putting a festival together, and the Everybody Get In Here festival came to fruition in January, along with Improv MKE, the Black Improv Alliance, Will Loera, the Lancaster Improv Players. I'm counting names. I'm missing somebody big. I'm sorry if I'm missing you. And we had our first sort of community-based global improv festival, which was really awesome. And then we did it again in June and added 8 more theaters, like the Hideout in Highwire, Will Hines School, Jay Suko's Today Improv. So again, it's just been all these incredible collaborations, and all these folks got to play in at least one of those festivals. And Anisha mentioned the Green Room is an opportunity for folks just to sort of hang out and chat. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about some of those times where you just got to play with people that aren't on your team, whether it's through the festival or through our shows. Anyone have any experiences that they remember? Sarah?
Yeah, it's been really enjoyable. I think I've done maybe 3 duo shows. And the first one we did the format where you just meet the person just before the show and perform with them. I was partnered up with Rafi, which was amazing because I think we both discovered really quickly that we're very similar kind of improvisers in terms of playfulness, and just had so much fun. And that's why we then went on to do the 3-on-3 together along with Brenna. And that was just
Unicorn
such a nice
emoji.
connection.
Unicorn emoji.
Yeah, that was it.
Maybe the best
Shout out.
improv team name ever. It's just the emoji. It's nothing
Yeah,
else.
we were like, we can't say it, we have to just show it. Yeah, and then after that it became that you could meet up with your duo partner before and talk about the format, and that also was really nice as well, because I'm in a duo with somebody who I work with all the time, but actually to work with new people and just go, what do you enjoy most? Okay, let's try that once and then do a show, is also really challenging and really exciting.
Yeah, I did the duo show recently with Kate Bell, and we literally met 5 minutes beforehand because we're slackers. And I'm like, I'm feeling very black and white today. She's like, all right, that sounds good. We'll play this in black and white. And then we started doing film noir, and that just was what we came up with. So, yeah, it was weird and wonderful. That's what I'll say. Not Kate Bell, just our set. Anyone else have anything they want to share about some of those times where you got to play with people that weren't your teammates?
I mean,
Let's go Ryan, then Diana, then George.
I mean, that was a big part of the appeal for me. Like I said, was like the chance to get to play with people that I would not normally get the chance to play with. Because as much as I love playing with people who I've played with for years and years and years, know really well, I also enjoy playing with people I've never played with before, and also people who have a different perspective from me. Because I think it just it helps me grow as a performer, and I also because even before the pandemic, I was running a show out here in LA called Surf Advisory that was just me and whoever I could get, and it was basically just trying to create new connections, trying to there are fewer now, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, but there were a lot of theaters in the Los Angeles area that I was trying to kind of bring everyone in through that show, because I like creating connections and finding commonalities rather than focusing on like, oh, well, you know, our theater focuses on relationship. That other theater, they focus on game. That's not what we do. And it's like, it's all the same thing. We're all talking about the same thing. We're just using different words. All right, that's my rant.
No, it's true. It's like a short form game has like 100 names. I totally get it. Diana, I think we had you next, right?
I think so. Is my internet breaking up a little bit? Because some people are a little, okay, cool. Yeah, I really want to lean into what Ryan was saying. The company that I work with most of the time here in San Francisco, I'm fortunate to be part of their faculty and on the leadership team of Leela in San Francisco. And it's not that Leela is like super insular. It's just you get so wrapped up in your own classes and your own shows. And so this has been this incredible opportunity to, as Ryan was saying, like get other points of view, other perspectives, play with people that play completely differently than myself. I went through a period of like, I don't like jams. I don't like to play with people I haven't played with. And early on in this whole pandemic situation, someone called it the panty, and I thought that was kind of cute and made it sound so much less horrifying than pandemic. So it's early on in the panty, I got to play with Jay Sukow, and that was terrifying for me because, again, I don't reach out and play with people that I haven't had a chance to rehearse with very often. But he makes life so beautiful and makes it so comfortable. And I played with him, and we had a great conversation. We had a really fun scene. And afterward, I was talking about, I struggle with the whole jammy jam thing. And he's like, I'm going to challenge you to go out there and just play. And it's really been like a tonic for my soul. And yeah, there are times I'm like, oh, wow, I don't play that way. This feels like a little bit of a disconnect. And that's when I know I'm growing, because otherwise I'm just like in my little groove. And so I feel like I've grown this year, and sometimes I'm not doing my absolute best work, and that's hard. However, I know I'm growing and I'm being challenged, and I'm grateful.
So. Oh, I love it. Yeah, if you don't know who Jay Sukow is, everyone, you should. That's all I'll say about that. There's even a Jay Sukow fan page out there that you can be a part of. George, what you got?
I just remembered, speaking of dynamic duos, last week, where I got to do a scene with Rick Horner from Improv.
He's amazing. Sorry.
He is. I mean, prior to that, I've met him in a jam, but I didn't get to do a scene with him because he was facilitating it. And prior to the dynamic duo, we didn't talk about what we're going to do. So when we opened our cam and we got the prompt, that was the first time that we're doing a scene together. And it felt so connected. I felt so connected. And our dialogues, I felt we were building the scene brick by brick, and we were using symbolisms. It felt, after the scene, I was just, wow, that was so memorable for me. And our prompt was about steak and cigar. So symbolism there, really.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, Rick is phenomenal. He works a lot with Vintage Improv, but he's been doing a lot of classes and workshops with our community, and he was like, oh, I want to jump in and play. And I thought, I love to mix people up for the duos. I'm like, who can I put together? And so I was like, oh, this will be an inspiring duo. So I'm glad it was inspiring for you, George. So.
It's like this is what improv is all about. I mean, being able to connect with people that you don't really connect with usually, and a different level. So wow, this is.
So I have one more question for you, and then we can sort of begin to wrap up. Maybe it'll take a while, who knows? So it's a two-part question. Who have you been in a Zoom room with that you were just in awe of? Like someone that you were like, how am I possibly in a room with this person? And who is somebody that you are dying to be in a Zoom room with? That's my two-part question. All the thinking faces are happening right now, the improv thinking faces. I will go then while you're doing that. So for me, there were so many people. I sort of stalked Paul Valancourt in the beginning, and he knows it, so it's all right, Paul. But I think the first time I was in a Zoom room where I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Was David Escobedo's birthday celebration on the Improv Boost, and it was like Stephanie Ray, Michelle Gilliam, Jay Zuko, Lakshmi Priya. Oh my gosh, all these incredible people, and I'm like just sitting back watching the show, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be in the show, Carla. You need to get in the show. And I think I don't even show up for like the first 8 minutes of the long form because I was just like watching the whole time. So that was definitely one for me. Somebody who I would love to be in a Zoom room with, who I haven't. I will say Craig and Carla Kakowski, who are phenomenal instructors, who actually are in North Carolina right now. I don't stalk people, really, I don't. But Ryan doesn't believe me. No, we've been corresponding. And they are just both phenomenal. I've had the opportunity to take a workshop from them, but I would love to do a scene with them. That would be mine. Who else has some awe and love for Sarah?
Yeah, talking of stalking. So when I've been doing improv for about a year, I slightly stalked Will Luera because I went to some workshops in at Slapdash International Festival, which was at the nursery in London. And I loved his teaching, and I was teaching kind of a similar-ish thing at the time. So I was like, I wonder if I could just talk to you about what you were teaching. And he was so generous. He's like, yeah, I'll send you all my lesson plans. If you can evaluate them and send them back, you can teach it alongside. And then he kind of became a bit of a mentor, and then he just messaged me one day and was like, do you want to come and perform with me in Greece? And I was like, me? I'm from Faversham, are you sure? Couldn't get my head around it at all. Yeah, and I've been doing a few online things with him during the pandemic, which has always felt super, super surreal still to be asked to do that. And I just love his kind of whole process. I think for me, there's a million other people, but I'm never very good at like naming individual people because I think I'm too British and repressed, and I think I'll miss people out and then I'll feel bad. But I think you just learn from everybody. And I think every single group that I'm in, every jam I'm in, I'm just always genuinely so excited to work with all these new people and just learn new stuff all the time as well.
Good, great. Yeah, Stephanie Ray from the Improv Alliance is stalking Wayne Brady. I just need to put that out there. She must do a scene with Wayne Brady. So if anyone has that connection, Stephanie, I got your back. I'm going to say it every time I can. Wayne Brady, Stephanie Ray. Scene. All right. Who else has something to share? Ryan?
I will say I'm here in LA, so I'm a little bit spoiled. So I've been lucky to work with a lot of really great people. But as far as Zoom rooms go, I'll go back to the Global 3-on-3 tournament because when I was putting out the call, I was like, I don't know who's gonna do this. I don't even know who is like doing online improv. And I really I got response from people who I really admire, who were in the tournament. You know, people like Will Hines, Mel Cowan, or Eva Pittis. Well, he didn't play it. He was facilitating. Yeah, a lot of just like a lot of really great people who I know and I really enjoy watching. And the fact that they were like down to do this weird online improv tournament sometimes at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It really meant a lot to me. And then as soon as I started talking, every dog in this neighborhood started barking. I'm outside. My girlfriend's asleep in her house.
Not anymore. Not with those dogs barking.
Now someone's trying to talk to me. You have a Postmates order? Okay. Sure, yeah. I don't think it's not for me, but yeah, are you looking for Aaron? Oh, Kristen, yeah, she lives here.
This is what I love about live improv online. You get to learn so much about people. Kristen, what's for breakfast? Go ahead, Ryan. Continue telling us about your starstruck Global 3-on-3.
Yeah, I would say who I would be starstruck in a Zoom room with? Probably like Neil Flynn, Scott Adsit. That'd be good. Nichols and May.
Yeah.
Oh, Nichols and May. Yeah. We're getting the folks from Beer Shark Mice down here in Charlotte to perform, but Neil is filming, so we will not have Neil, and I'm sad. But yeah. All right. Who else wants to share? We'll get Diana, then George, then Matt.
Oh goodness. Okay. So I was doing the Vintage Improv Fest last year, and I was lucky enough to be on faculty, and we did a faculty jam, right? And again, remember Diana jamming, not so great. But I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So at the last minute, I got my shit together and got online, and I'm in the room with Michael Gelman, David Rosowski, Liz Allen. Oh my God, I never remember how to pronounce his last name, but he runs the WIT, Washington Improv Theater. So I'm in there, I'm like, and of course, also amazing people like Jay Sukow. So that blew my mind that I could be there. And I actually got to do a scene with Rosowski, and afterward we were like, I really liked playing with you. And so it took me a year to work up the nerve to reach out to him and say, would you like to guest on our show, Binge Watching Friends? And then I'm terrified that he's going to say no, right? Or, oh, I'd love to, but I'm too busy. And he said yes. So I'm thrilled. He's going to play with us on August 14. That's going to be amazing. If I future, like, oh God, who would I love to play with? So there's a duo named called Red Door. And I had to look up their names because I'm such a fan. I don't even know their names. I'm just more like, you're amazing. And it's Justin Michael Terry and Ryan Marcico. And I may be pronouncing his name wrong, but their space object work blows my mind. They are incredible. They are so connected. And since I'm in a duo, it's something I aspire to be that connected. And then just crazy, who could I out there in the world? Well, I'll admit it. Oh God, her name is blanking, but she played Suki on Gilmore Girls. Somebody help me out here. You know who I'm talking about. Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
If I could improvise with Melissa McCarthy, yeah, okay. I think I'm done ranting now. Thank you.
It's good. I love this passion behind who we love. Fantastic.
Diana, I know Justin. I can make that connection.
Hook me up.
Ryan
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Ryan and I will help with all your stalking needs.
Thank you. I feel so seen.
All right, let's grab George. Tell us who you would be in awe of and who you would love to play with.
Being in a Zoom room with Jay Suko, who I did my first ever live duo last year, and David Escobedo, who our duo scene would not have happened if it wasn't the idea wasn't brought up by Carla. Thank you, Carla. And doing a scene with Jonathan Pitts. I mean, for his birthday marathon thing. These people really know how to how to make their partner look good. I really felt taken care of during my scene with them. And being in a Zoom room with TJ Jagodowski and Colin Mockery, I mean, it's hair racing for me. And this would not have been possible without Queen City Comedy. I'm very grateful for Queen City Comedy. And maybe being in a room with Tina Fey or Steve Carell, I would probably pass out.
I get this vision of George on the floor and Steve Carell like... Fantastic. I love these aspirations. These are great. We'll get Matt, then Desi.
There's been a couple times where I've just been doing a show, and one of them was the Community Playhouse. I think it was back in June. I've done a scene with these three before, but it was Brenna, Mandy, and then Emily. And I'm doing a scene with them, and I don't even think I said much because I was just in awe with how quick they were just going back and forth and just how entertaining it was. And then another show, I know it was Brenna and Mandy, and I think it was you, Carla, and then Jen was in there too. And I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and watch. I'm on screen. I'm just like, this is good. This is too damn good. I can't interrupt this with my stuff. So those were a couple moments where I was just like, wow, like this is amazing. And then let's see, who would I love to do improv with? George mentioned Tina Fey, probably Amy Poehler for me. That would be really cool to be on stage with her.
Oh, I love that. Fantastic. Good, Desi?
Okay, I remember doing a show with, I have a duo called The Sudden Knot.
Oh, yes. Yay, Sudden Knot.
Yes, and we do shows with people from all over the world. And once we had a show with Jen and Elizabeth, and they are both crazy, but in a different way. And we didn't expect that. And it was everything. And also we once had a show with a guy from Japan, but I'm not sure about his name, Oisho or something like this. And we played in Bulgarian, Japanese, and Dutch. And I would love to have another show with people playing in different languages the others don't speak. Okay, I have a very ambitious dream. I want to do improv scenes or an improv show with David Cross, you know, the actor.
Oh, yes.
He has, from Arrested Development, he has a background in improv, and also Bill Hader, I want to say, from It, Chapter 2. So if they one day hear that, please call me and let's improvise together.
Yeah, Bill Hader's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's great.
If you haven't watched the show Barry, you have to watch the show Barry. It's perhaps the greatest stuff. And there's
it's
a lot
not
of
on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix. It's on HBO. It'll probably get to Netflix soon. But they do a lot of improv stuff in it, so it's even funnier. So it makes me laugh.
And they improvised a lot in Arrested Development.
Yeah, absolutely. Ari has put in the chat, and I'm not going to say this poor gentleman's name because I won't say it right, but the person you mentioned, Desi, and he's tagged them so that way the gentleman from Japan, so that way they can know that you're talking about them. Nisha, finish this up. Tell us who you've been in awe of and who you'd love to play with.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to put an intention out there in the world because I'm in transition from Bangalore to London, and I hope to find a team of my own in London, a duo of my own, a musical team. And I reached out to Road Trip Bonanza, and I'm in awe of all the women on the team. It's just amazing to be able to play with them, and the possibility of meeting all these people that we've been interacting with online just makes me so happy. And I also do playback theater, and I really feel that the form has transformation and community. Like for me, that's what improv has been, and I would really love to do a lot more playback and take that to a lot more communities. And for me, like as we speak, City Lamps, in collaboration with the Black Improv Alliance, we did Lakshmi did a few workshops, and we had a show for them. So I would love for doing that with more teams and more communities, and that would be my aspiration. And yeah, continue learning.
Oh, fantastic. I love all these people with names we're shouting out. I'm going to have to spend 2 hours in our chat today making sure that I mention all these people's names and stuff, and I will put out to all the celebrities. But just to wrap up, what I would love to do is have each of you give me 2 words to describe your global improv experience. Just 2 words. That's all you get. It's 2 words. I know it's like, ooh, we're stumping you there. 2 words to describe.
Gratitude.
Ooh, there we go.
And community.
Oh, I love it. Great. No repeating. No, I'm just kidding. You can repeat.
You know?
Desi's like, I'm going next then.
Yes. Okay, privilege and friendship.
Ooh, I love it. Sarah?
Very exciting and diverse.
Ooh, good. Matt?
I would say inspire. I can't talk. Inspiring and just amazing.
Ooh, good. Awesome. Diana?
Growth and scrumptious.
Ooh, scrumptious. That's the Scrumptious Improv Project. We're gonna change our name. Fantastic. Who else has 2 words? Ryan's still thinking. He's thinking. All
Yeah,
right.
my 2 words form a phrase. Boundary breaking.
Ooh, look at that.
One.
Fantastic. George.
Oh, global, joyful.
Ooh, fantastic. And I would say unbelievable talent. That's where I would say, because both Kale and I have been blown away from day one just by the quality of talent that shows up to our classes, to our game nights, to our jams, and we've been able to collaborate with so many incredible organizations and people. So incredible talent. Before we wrap up, if anyone wants to shout out something that they want to promote, feel free to raise your hand and you can share something if you haven't already, and we will make sure that we folks get to hear. Desi?
Yeah, I just put the name of the Japanese guy in the chat.
Fantastic.
Also, with my duo, the Sudden Knot, we are kind of on holiday now, but we plan to continue with the shows with everybody who wants to play with us. Send us a message and we will find you and send you messages to join us on screen and play together.
Awesome. Yes. Definitely follow the Sudden Knot. George?
Zach's Typical Hero will be performing its 3rd episode on August 6, 8 p.m. Chinatime, and also Tragically Unscripted this Tuesday at the Extreme Improv World Championships and at the Christmas in July extravaganza show.
Ooh, fantastic. Good. Who else? Sarah?
Yeah, I already mentioned about the British American experience, which is 9 p.m. BST tonight on Extreme Improv. And then we also have Don't Mess. Our next show is on Extreme Improv, actually same day as George's, Tuesday the 27th. So I've popped all the links in the chat.
Great, and I'll get those in the Facebook chat for you all. Who else would like to share anything? We'll get Anisha, then Diana.
The Tiny Dinos is also performing at Extreme Improv. City Lamps has open playback sessions and also workshops for anyone who's interested, and a monthly show that happens.
Great. Diana?
Thank you. The professionals who I direct are performing in Extreme Improv today at 12 Pacific time, and I teach with Leela in San Francisco. We have classes online, and if you're in the Bay Area, in person. Check us out at leelasf.com.
Awesome. Who else has something before we wrap up? We get everybody? Oh, George has got one more.
There's an event by end of August called Improvis Asia. It will be featuring a lot of Asian teams, and I have 2 local teams who will perform there. So if you have time to watch, or if you have a team that you want to refer, Improvis Asia.
Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you all for. Oh, Ryan, I saw your hand. I wasn't sure if you were scratching, but I think I saw your hand.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything to promote.
Invite
me to do stuff, so I do.
Ryan would like to promote Postmates. They deliver in live time. First of all, thank you to these lovely panelists for spending 90 minutes chatting about improv and this beautiful passion project of mine. I cannot thank you all enough for taking a risk on a tiny little theater out of Charlotte, North Carolina that nobody had heard of a year ago. And it is truly a privilege to be a part of this unbelievable talent and community. So thank you to you all. Thanks to those of you all watching, whether it's live or later on. And thanks to the whole improv community for just embracing online improv, because I know it's not going anywhere, and it's certainly not going anywhere for Queen City Comedy. So lots of cool workshops and stuff coming up, including one from Jonathan Nguyen, Francis J. Villanueva, me, if you want to take a class with me, and then some other awesome folks like Paul Valancourt, who I have been stalking, he knows, and other great performers as well. Tune in to everything Queen City Comedy does. It's live on Facebook because we don't know how to use multiple channels. And we're going to wave awkwardly goodbye as we end this live stream. Thank you all so very much. Bye.